So, hey folks, Buck Rizvi here, Health Profits Academy. I am here with Kevin, a fellow member of Health Profits Academy, Kevin from Adel, Iowa. And Kevin, are you there? Can you hear me okay?
I am right in the middle of nowhere.
Hey, thanks for joining me, Kevin. I really appreciate that. Well, I see a bunch of cool, interesting things behind you, so we'll have a conversation about that later. But you and I were having a chat over email, and you just mentioned something. I think you got news about the upcoming Health Profits Summit. Is that right?
Correct? Yep. Yep.
And you just, out of the blue, you wrote me back and you said some very kind words. And I was wondering if you could just, maybe share a little bit about, you, as I recall, you attended the first Health Profits Summit.
Yes, correct. Yep. I think you had it in February.
Okay. Yep.
Which
January-ish.
Yeah, January. It's like I'm going. Wow, I'm going to Denver in January. Or
Yeah.
Boulder in January. I'm like, well, okay.
It's a little warmer than Iowa is in the wintertime. I don't know.
Yes, it is. Yeah, yeah. The next one will be much nicer.
Okay. Yeah, spring is perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're coming here in the spring. But the thing that you really caught my attention. Now, one of the things that I do with folks that come into the community is I offer up a one-on-one conversation. And
Yep.
you took me up on that. We had a conversation, and I think a lot of things have happened since then, and since you attended the live event. So do you mind sharing what's going
Oh,
on?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. So I was an Amazoner way back, starting 5 years ago. One thing led to another, and I started with one product and had 13.
Okay.
Well, always looking, I believe really big in reinvesting in oneself, taking a portion of your income and reinvesting for training and to become a better person, or you grow stagnant.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I have more examples of people who have become stagnant than invest in training.
Yes.
So yours came along, and I thought, there's a lot of interesting things there. I want to grow the business. I think I want to grow them off Amazon. So I joined.
Yep.
And then one thing, how do I want to say this? The old Seinfeld, yada, yada, yada. One thing led to another. And I got an offer to buy my business on Amazon.
Right.
And it was a substantial offer.
Okay.
And we had our one-on-one call, and it was kind of interesting because I had asked, two or three people that I really had respected in the business. And it's kind of interesting based on your email and everything you'd already done. You were kind of in that category. So when we had the conversation, it was I still remember the conversation because I was actually driving around in my car and
Okay.
pulled over to have it because it was, you said some really important things about, growing a business and that kind of thing, but the ability to take money off the table.
Right.
And the offer from a multiplier was such a large amount, given the fact I didn't own the traffic, I didn't own the website. You're like, yep, so great. So
Right.
I'm like, well, so I entered an agreement to sell it, but I was already signed up to go to your seminar.
Okay.
I'm like, well, we can meet some people. We can kind of, see where it goes from there. Why not? I don't have anything else to do.
Right.
Well, we get there, and I have been to a lot of seminars, and I've always heard that, training, networking is the key, and, you really want to, I always try to kind of pick one thing out. And it was interesting. On day 2, you had a guy by the name of, he goes by Doberman Dan.
Yep.
And he got up on stage, and he's talking about this really unique method he has for advertising in the offline world.
Right.
Remnant buying of newspapers. And it was just kind of interesting because I was like, okay, I've never really looked at that, never approached it that. Yeah, it's kind of the Warren Buffett. You want to put your money in markets where everybody's running from.
Right.
Right? And people think newspapers are dead. And so I still remember, and Dan and I still joke about it, somebody raised their hand and someone said, hey, so how would this apply to my Amazon business? And Dan laughed. And he said, I just don't get that business model, guys. And he said, I just don't think it's very smart that you're giving your number one asset of a business, your customer information, away to Amazon.
Right.
And so I remember when I talked to him, I was sitting in the back, and I'm like going, this guy just called me an idiot.
In a polite way. Right.
Yeah, in a polite way. But he made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So I completed the sale of my business. I then hooked up with Dan, and in talking about it, we kind of go a couple different directions here on some product development and some of the neat things he did. Well, it always boils down to, and we were at a friend's house last night talking about this, people, and I know this is going to sound a little much, people will almost sell their soul in just to have the opportunity to work with Amazon. And they go, well, wait a minute. They do everything for me. They do my credit card processing. They do they do my shipping solution. They do my customer service.
Right.
And through the people you had presenting at the seminar, and through Dan, you had every component that Amazon does. Right?
There was no Amazon coverage at the event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zero.
Right.
Right. And you had a call center, you had a distribution center, you had the web people, you had processing people. And I think when some people sit back and they go, oh man, it's a lot. It's really not a lot. I mean, I will tell you my to-do, there's a couple things that's really unique. My to-do list is so much shorter than it used to be. And my stress level is down by 90%.
Well, I recall, we had a couple discussions where, you'd wake up and there'd be a litany of issues. Some foreign buyer had complained about you having the wrong ingredients or improper label claims or whatever. And, the people at Amazon, they don't know any better. They think you got to take it seriously. So maybe they go shut you down. Or that was one scenario. And then I look at, another example where Amazon is getting into the businesses that are the most lucrative themselves with their own, private labels.
Yep.
And so what does that mean for everyone that's been selling their own products happily? Suddenly that traffic gets siphoned away to the Amazon line. So yeah, it's sort of like you're letting the fox tend the hen house, I think, a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. And so I don't wake up on a Saturday. My wife was just telling her friends this last night. I don't wake up on a Saturday dreading the email because I don't get an email anymore that says my store has been shut down or some dirtbag competitor has posted false reviews and didn't buy my product. Right. I have none of that. You cannot find my products online because I don't sell them online anywhere. Wow. They're not. I mean, and so what's interesting, and we were talking about it, and it's like going, okay, so what did attending your thing last January and meeting specifically Dan bring to me? In 2016, it will be well over $1 million. It went from
God bless you. God bless you, Kevin. That's I'm really excited and happy for you, not only for your transaction that you consummated, but now the potential you have in the next leg of your journey.
Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And the fee, and I will tell you this, the fees, the putting this together, I may be invested to start off because I'm a very cash flow conservative guy. I may be invested $10,000.
Yeah, I tell you, the return on investment sounds like it's going to be phenomenal.
Yes. I did not go out and write big checks. I didn't go, I need to acquire this business, whatever. But it was simply very cookie cutter with all the pieces together. Yeah. And it has exploded. And we're doing that, by the way, with 2 products.
You don't have to have 20 SKUs or 10 SKUs like you were saying.
Right. Yep. I think the other thing that's amazing is, like products on Amazon sell for $14.99, and that's one thing I really took away from your during your presentation about how Real Dose was formed. Right?
Yes.
I now get $49.95.
I love
my cost is still only $4 a bottle.
Yes.
So you can see what it does when you get away from that muck, and I just think people get so. Don't get me wrong, Amazon did a lot of great things for me, but I always kind of joke about that old thing. Some guy once asked, why do they rob trains? And he said, that's where the money is.
That's where the money is. The famous, exactly.
Are there a lot of dirtbags on Amazon right now? That's where the money is. And don't get me wrong, the majority of those people out there on Amazon that are very good competitors, and I'm more than happy to call them my friends. It's always that small percentage of any market or industry. So I understand why Amazon does what it does, and I don't understand all their decisions, and et cetera. So it's just been a totally different world. And truly, I mean, this is one of the, had I not been sitting there in January, I would not be. I have no idea what I would be doing except spending the money from the sale of my last company.
So what's interesting, it sounds like now you've had this transaction. Your stress levels are lower because, like you said, you're not going to wake up in the morning and have the alert email saying suspension. And now your margins are higher. So it's goodness all the way around. What would you recommend people do that are thinking about either joining Health Profits Academy or coming to the live event? What are your recommendations?
Unfortunately, I would recommend what unfortunately I didn't do for many years.
Okay.
I'm a big sitter in the back of the room and watching and taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
But the key is then to have a conversation. When the guy comes off, if someone tweaks your interest, whether it's a call center, a merchant processor, whether it's you, whether it's a guy like Dan, when they get off the stage to walk up afterwards and go, hey, I got a quick question. I wonder if this will work for me. And then I actually with Dan, just send him an email.
Yeah.
Right? Join
It's
his
amazing
email.
what happens when you follow up. Just a little, they actually reply, don't they?
They actually reply. These guys they're
Yeah.
busy, but it's kind of what they do.
Right.
And I think it's amazing. And you can edit this part out. I just think what's really interesting about you is, and I told you this in an email, most training you get into, I don't want to mention anybody by name, but there's like a big one out there that's some Amazon training, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they want to sell you training is so they can sell you more training.
Right.
So they can sell you a product. They want to sell you a piece of software. They can sell you whatever.
Yeah.
And what I said about you is, I respected about you is, I've been a member now for over a year and a half.
Yep.
And you never have. And I told you by the email, if you have a hidden agenda, you suck at it.
I'm really bad at monetization of my members or something. I don't know what's going on.
Really bad. I was looking at your price of your health of the academy, and I thought, oh, this is going to cost me. Oh, the plane ticket will cost me more.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, yeah. So anyway,
fantastic. So it sounds like you believe, folks, that anyone that might be considering Health Profits Academy joining the program, the training, the live event, is that if I'm even remotely thinking about getting into the online or offline health space.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and so. First of all, there's a lot of great information there. I still, by the way, one of my favorite conversations, I was enthralled by this person's presentation from Agora.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
She was amazing.
Jenny. Mm-hmm.
So amazing
Yes.
to listen to. And, but what I really like, what I think the seminar is huge. I know people, travel issues can't always do this. But when you meet someone in person, the nose to nose, and you shake someone's hand, they realize that you are serious.
Yes.
You know what? We just took a trip for the first time to see the fulfillment center and the world that opens up in front of you, because otherwise, in this world of social media, no one wants to talk to anybody or whatever. You never really know, you kind of get a feel. What is this
it worth my time? Everyone's filtering whether or not this person actually pay attention to them.
Yep. Exactly. And so you walk up to somebody and you say, hey, I saw you. Mm-hmm. And that was with Dan. I saw you in the audience with Bob. And they immediately go, oh, yeah, I remember you. And it just opens up so much of information to them.
Kevin, you made a great point. This has happened to me time and time again, is that being there at the live events, and I attend events in fact, I'm heading to Australia for a live event. Being there at the event, suddenly that's the door opener.
Yes. Yep.
If you wanted someone to introduce you and open the door, just coming to the live event, that I'm opening the door for everyone that's coming to the Health Profits Summit.
I don't know if you want to mention it here, but you use an amazing company that manufactures private labels supplements.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And their wealth of knowledge is amazing. And sitting in the front of the room, you had the president of the company.
Yep.
And you had one of the vice presidents. And afterwards, I remember them sitting there. It was over lunch, and for an hour and a half, they met with people one-on-one. Okay? If you would just give me the guy's information. Hey, Kevin, Joe. Oh, I just learned that Joe at this company makes these supplements, and you should call him. I'm in a list of how many people.
Right.
That he may or may not get to.
Exactly.
And when I talked to the guy live, and what's really interesting, and I think people really, and I've really learned to do this, if you want to know where the money is made in supplements, he's the guy.
Yeah.
He has seen all the research. He sees the bottles flowing out of his factory, and he was he wouldn't tell product names,
right.
But he would go, this is a niche. Stay away from that one. That one's really good.
They become part of your virtual advisory board. That's what happens.
Yes.
And I tap them all the time and say, hey, what about this? Hey, what about that? And you wind up doing deals with them later that you never would have anticipated right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think you recognize that. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for your time. I know you've got another call coming up, but I am so proud of you. I'm excited for you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you again live in April. So I appreciate you doing this.
Well, I truly would say I couldn't have done it without you. I thank you. So, yep, I'm already booked. We'll see you in April.
Thanks, Kevin.